Grandparents can help counter growing children's mental health challenges, as more than 40% of American teenagers report persistent feelings of sadness or hopelessness. A leading child psychologist says grandparents and extended family have a vital role to play. Kenneth Barish, clinical professor of psychology at Weill Cornell Medicine, argues that the erosion of extended family support has contributed to what the U.S. Surgeon General calls a prolonged crisis in child and adolescent mental health. In his new book, The Art and Science of Parenting and Grandparenting, Dr. Barish reflects on 4 decades of clinical work alongside insights from neuroscience, child development research, and educational programs for children to make his case that grandparents can help with modern parenting challenges. As well as providing support to parents, grandparents provide what Dr. Barish calls molecules of emotional health, moments of listening and encouragement that strengthen children's emotional immune system. Okay, I'll let you read this for yourself, but you get where we're going with this. From a personal perspective, which is why I really like this little article, when I grew up in England, I was very close to my mum's parents, my grandmother and my grandfather. On my father's side, my grandmother was killed in a car accident before my parents met, and my father's father passed away when I was about 18 months old, so I have no recollection of him. So I had no relationship, obviously, with my dad's parents, but my mum's parents, I was very close with them. I was the oldest grandchild, too, and I would say I probably stayed at my grandparents' almost every weekend in their little house, which, by the way, they lived in since before the Second World War until the time they both passed. So I think I've shared a little bit about my past, but when I tell you I come from humble beginnings, I come from humble beginnings. My dad left school at 14, my mother 16, and neither of my grandparents were educated. So here I am. So, you know, the grandparents, being close with grandparents is important, but perhaps more importantly, in the last couple of years, we have seen a trend, and if you Google this, you should be able to find an article on Dateline or 2020 that talks about this, where grandparents are having to raise their own grandchildren. They become the pseudo parents. Now here in Florida, grandparents really don't have any rights. So if there's an issue with the parents, and they can't raise their own children, then the state's going to step in. So you're going to have, the Department of Children and Family Services, DCF, banging on someone's door and potentially, placing these children with somebody else, or even in foster care, which is certainly not what you want. So the way to make sure that doesn't happen is, we help grandparents get authority from a court so they can become the decision makers, where the children reside, where they go to school, who they spend time with, all of that stuff, right? They become the parent all over again. They raise their own children, right? Those children, for whatever reason, substance use, mental illness, can't take care of the grandchildren. So now grandparents are back in the game. They're 70, 80 years old, and they're having to become parents again. So we got to get them the authority to do that. And we use the courts to do that. So if that's something you've experienced, let me know. We'd like to have a conversation with you. If you are not experiencing that, but you have your own adult children with substance use and mental health issues, and you want to have a conversation about how we can potentially help them and help your family, we'd like to hear from you. Also, in the description for this video is a link to our brand new book, all about the Marchman Act, which is a wonderful tool that we use here in Florida to get people into treatment and keep them there long enough when there's a primary substance use disorder. So if you've ever wanted to learn about the Marchman Act, our book is right there. And you just click on the link, you give us your name, your email address, and we will send you the book for free. If there's another issue going on in your family and I've not made a video about it, let me know. Post it in the comments. I'll make you that video. Additionally, if you can give us a thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. It helps with the Google algorithm, which means we can get this in front of more people and hopefully help more families. And if you want more of this content that I make every single day for you, please subscribe to the channel. And with that said, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.